just being, a member of the LA County delegation here in Congress, I really felt it was incumbent on me to just ask a couple of questions about the Porter Ranch incident. While that's not in my particular congressional district, certainly in LA County, it's been a huge problem. Mr. Weimer, I was just going to ask you a couple of questions about that. And I appreciate my colleagues, Congress members Knight, Sherman, and Spear, for coming and talking about the devastations in their own districts as it related to pipeline and gas storage issues. So, Mr. Sherman has introduced a bill, and so has Mr. Knight. Now, Mr. Knight's bill, the PHMSA regulation would rely heavily on consensus standards, which in the case of underground gas storage refers to standards developed by the API. I know I'm concerned that these standards, about the way these standards were developed and whether they are truly the best practices or rather just an average practice of the industry. In your opinion, are these practices just a ratification of the current average practice in the industry? Should they go further? And are consensus standards generated by the industry the best way to identify adequate safety measures?
Well, thank you for the question. Certainly underground gas storage is not something that we focused on much. We think that from what we've seen of the recommended practices, that they would be a good first step. We think that it needs to go farther than that, and I think that's some of the difference in the language between the two congressional bills that have been introduced. If there was a way, maybe through emergency order authority, that those standards could be implemented as soon as possible, that would be good. But we'd like to see a regular rulemaking that would open it up so the public, academia, other folks could chime in and make sure it's as strong as possible. We've heard mention that there's concerns with the standards that are being pushed forward, that they don't include everything that needs to be. There's also some concerns about whether it precludes state authority based on whether such facilities end up being defined as interstate or intra. Because if they're defined as interstate, they could be precluded, the states could be precluded from going above and beyond what the feds.
Thank you. And my last question would be, Mr. Sherman's bill included a state non-preemption clause so that states have the option of implementing standards more stringent than the federal ones. Do you feel like states like California should have the option of requiring measures like shut-off valves, pressure monitors, testing of downhill devices if the federal regulations fail to do so?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much. And, Mr. Chairman, thank you for indulging me for my personal second round.
I appreciate the gentlewoman's questions.